college.
College, but
College.
Welcome to the first episode of What's Going On with Youth Matters Media, where we will be starting our 4-part series on life after high school. High school students going into their junior and senior years face big decisions.
What should I take? What path should I go on once I get here?
Like as of right now, I'm already thinking of the college application, going to like graduation, all that, what I need.
Based on what I've seen from college and my brother, who's currently a freshman, it seems very different.
In this 4-part series, we want to break down these choices. What does the college path look like? What about alternative paths? Who are your best resources, and how do you make these decisions? Before we dig into each of those topics, we want to understand what it's like to be finishing up high school. So our first research was on the outside influences that affect high schoolers' decisions. We got a lot of answers about one of the biggest influences and stressors, time.
I know that students have a lot to do. I know that there is a lot of responsibility, like you said, studying for the SAT, the common application, recommendations, essays, there's a lot that they have to do.
Yeah, well, I think there are a couple things. I think there are some students that I know that do work multiple jobs while they're in high school, and they learn really good skills of time management. So they're already used to having to squeeze in their homework and their jobs and whatever personal life they're trying to fit in, and they already have that routine.
Another influencer was choice.
This is going to be what you can expect to make from that type of job. These are the careers that are going to be available to you. Is this a growing field, or are there not that many jobs available, and maybe you thought you had it figured out, but really you should consider some other things.
So given all the confusion and questions, what is it that drives the decisions high school students are making? We found a few forces, one being your school's culture. We wanted to see Anmal's point of view on his school's culture.
Because definitely from freshman year, they talk about how you should already be thinking about college. So they basically from the beginning of your high school, they're already saying, you're probably gonna go to college. So you're spending your high school years on going to college. So you're not really living what high school is about.
We also got to hear about Miss Eden's experience making that decision.
I feel like overall it was a good experience. There definitely were some things. There was a lot of pressure at my high school to do very well academically, and I was in honors classes, and especially in those classes, it's like a competition. What college could you go get into, or how were your grades? So definitely, I think by junior and senior, there was a lot of pressure and a lot of stress.
Miss Eden also spoke of the community at large and its effect on young people.
So I think just depending on what's going on in their personal lives, in the country, in the economy, it really impacts people's decisions and their hope. I really want to see students be hopeful for the future, but I think sometimes they're hearing messages from the community or from their families or from their friends of I don't know where I'm going, and so then they kind of lose focus.
Matt McLaughlin also had a perspective on the role of high school in young people's decision making.
So high school is in a lot of ways a preparation for college, because college is preparation for getting a job. And before, when you would work in a factory or you'd work in a trade and make good money and feed your family off that, all that mattered was high school, because you checked all the boxes and you're qualified for this job. Now you need the college degree, so naturally the high schools are going to gear you towards college because they're trying to do what's best for you. But high school, college, all these institutions in general, they can't speak to someone's spirit and to what they want to do in their life. No organization is going to be able to do that for you. You have to find it within yourself.
What is it that drives the decisions high school students are making? Another influence is your family. We were curious what the expectations were for different guests.
I feel like with my brother there was some expectation for him to go to a prestigious college. I feel like they learned from him, and they're being a little more loose with my direction in life.
So they would be open to you for you to be doing anything, or?
Maybe not anything. They don't want me to become a drug dealer. It's probably a bad idea. But I think they're fine if I take a second path in life.
I was very lucky that my mom was a high school guidance counselor. So she knew a lot about the process, and so she helped me a lot with that process she wasn't my counselor, but she was a counselor, and she helped me figure out that process.
They've always wanted me to go to college, but if they don't, they probably want me to have a set vision, see what I want to do. And if it's clear, it's reasonable, practical, they probably support it.
I didn't feel a lot of pressure from my personal family to go to a particular school. So although I think there was a lot of pressure with my friends and maybe even my teachers a little bit to really apply to high-level schools. I remember people talking about Harvard, and I was thinking, I don't have the grades to go to Harvard. Why would I even apply? But the good thing is my family was like, you need to find the right school for you, and I feel like that was really important. So we went and visited some schools. There was definitely pressure, but I think the pressure for me was more to do the best I can in my grades, and as long as that happened, my family made it very clear that they didn't really care what college I went to. They just wanted to make sure I was doing the best that I could and not slacking off.
At the end of the day, did the choice feel as if it was their own?
It was my own decision to go to college, but it was, I think, strongly influenced by the community that I lived in and my parents' expectations. I think if I decided to do something different for a year or two, my parents probably would have supported me. But it was just kind of the normal thing that everybody did, was they went to college right after high school.
So what can we learn from these influences? And what should we be aware of as we start to make our decision?
So I tell people, you should have a plan before you enter college for what you want to get out of college, and don't go just to check the box, because even if you get the degree, you're missing out on a lot of education.
You should know why you're going to college before you do go to college.
There's two things I would add. The main thing that I try to tell young people in general is don't think about college, think about your life. Think about where you want to be in the future. And if college is a part of that path, then you should go on that path. You should find the way to do it as cost effectively as possible. But don't let college become the obstacle to the path.
So what was hard for me, and I think what's hard for a lot of students, is that it feels like a very important decision, and it is, but it feels like there's only one right choice. And there's a lot of pressure on choosing the right school, and doing everything perfectly and getting the right amount of financial aid and all that. And it can be really hard to do if you don't really know what you're doing. So I think that's what's hard. There's a lot of pressure that there's only one way to do it. And what I want students to know, what I try to tell students, is that you may have one idea of how it's going to work out. You may have one school that you really want to go to, but there are a lot of paths that can get you there.
As we move on with our series, we're looking forward to exploring these options and providing you with the tools and resources to make a decision that is truly your own and based on honest reflection.
I really thought about this.